Welcome back. I've always been surprised that we haven't seen more airboats in Australia. Now, as you can see from these pictures, airboats are boats which have a flat barge-type hull and which are driven by aircraft-type propellers, driven by either aircraft or modified automotive engines. The advantages of these craft include the fact that they are extremely environmentally friendly. They can run in very shallow water, they can run over sapling mangroves and small trees and grass, and the vegetation simply stands back up again behind the boat. So they're ideal for wetlands observation, for conservation and for patrolling various remote areas. Now, there are a few of them in Australia in Kakadu, but they've been imported from America. Airboats Australia, which is based at Saltash near Port Stephens, are about to change that around with a range of boats which are being designed and built in Australia for Australian conditions. Now, the hull is aluminium. It is, as you see, a modified flat bottom hull. The modifications enhance its ability to handle and to steer, because they do tend to go sideways when you put a bit of steering input in. This particular boat, the Jabiru, is driven by a 350 cubic inch Chevrolet V8 engine, which gives it around about 80 kilometres an hour of top speed and tremendous manoeuvrability. In fact, this particular boat will be the first Australian boat to be seen in the Northern Territory in Kakadu, and is, as I speak, on its way to the Northern Territory to be put into service. Now, the configuration is interesting. The engine is mounted high above the hull, and of course that gives propeller clearance. It's surrounded by a large cage which keeps the people's appendages out of the propeller, and the seats are also mounted high above the hull. Now, the reason for that, and the flat platform across the foreign end of the hull, is because in the areas in which these boats are designed to operate, the grass which grows out of the water can be up to 2 metres high. So obviously the driver and passenger need to be able to see over the top, and the rake gently flattens the grass as the boat goes over the top. Now, the bottom of the hull is coated all over with a layer of Tyvar, which is an extremely tough plastic material, and which reduces the friction of the hull on the vegetation and of course on the water, and which greatly enhances and extends the overall durability of the hull. These boats will run in water, of course, in mud, very extremely shallow water. They'll run over sand flats, and they'll also run on ice and on wet grass. So they are extremely versatile and certainly useful for a huge range of different applications. I was impressed with the build quality of the boat, and I was particularly impressed with its performance and with its manoeuvrability and tractability, because with air rudders it's not often easy to get the degree of accuracy in steering and placement that the Jabiru certainly affords. Now, they are being built in Australia. They can be built from 10 up to 30 feet long by Airboats Australia, which is based at Saltash near Port Stephens. As I said, if you would like more information, and they certainly are fascinating, give me a call. The number comes up at the end of the show. We'll be back right after this break.